It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes, yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
It's time to get into our positive vibes only segment here on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington. Joining me this week, we have the founder of Keri's Kids nonprofit, an author, and a foster care advocate who's also a mother of 6. And 5 dogs, of course. That is Keri Vellis. Keri, thank you for joining the show this week.
Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. I love your story. You have been on a number of shows, such as ABC, Fox, Katie Couric's Wake Up Call, talking about your journey. So for those that do not know, can you tell us about your work in foster care and taking in 19 children over the years?
Yes, so about 6 years ago, my husband and I became licensed foster parents, and our first 2 kiddos that we took in were horrifically abused, and it really opened my eyes to different needs and different services and abuse and trauma within children and PTSD, and I found that I first off wanted to get a book. So I was like, holy smokes, there's nothing out there for these kids to relate to. Went to the bookstore, okay. There was nothing. And I came home, and my husband knows my personality, and I said, I'm writing a book. And he looked at me and said, okay. Okay, here we go. And, started Googling things and trying to figure out how to do it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is going to take so long. Like, there's so many children in foster care. I'm not going to wait on folks to approve a book. I'm just going to self-publish it. So I saved for about a year. Anything I earned taking care of children, I saved, and ended up connecting with a gal, a really close friend who's in printing, and found a gal, a talented girl in my town. I'm in Sonoma County in Northern California, and she herself was in foster care, super talented, Jen Lear. And I got together with her, and I said, hey, I wrote this book. What do you think? And she started to cry. And I knew then, like coming from an adult now who was in foster care, that reaction, she said, this is just a beautiful book, and I want to be involved in this project. And, we came up with my first book, Sometimes. Her illustrations are just so real, and it's just about a child being removed from their home, living in a new home, what to expect, and, feelings they might have. And it's just a really hopeful message overall. And we just got, notarized, and everybody wanted the book. And then I thought, oh, my gosh. And I actually got a call from the Ellen DeGeneres show. And they had said, we heard about your book. They invited me down to L.A., and I was invited to her 60th birthday show. 1 million active votes, and we surprised the audience and gave us all $1 million to split. And with that money that I received from her, I started my nonprofit, Keri's Kids, and funded my second book, When I Was Little, for children who've been abused, and had the same illustrator work with me. And that's another book that I needed, taking in children that have been abused. These kids need something, a message of hope. They need something they can relate to. So, there's nothing that you can appropriately read. There's some books about abuse and trauma to children that are written for children, but they're kind of scary. I've actually read some some classes to children, and I thought, wow, these are kind of a lot. Mine is a gentle message, and I actually go throughout the U.S., and I read to kiddos, and I volunteer my time, and read my books, and I teach them about foster care, what it means, and abuse, and the things that they come up with and share it's so powerful because these topics are so serious. You know, I come in and I say, hey guys, guess what kind of health, you know, I have. I have a helping house, and guess how many kids I have, and how many dogs I have. And the kids just, as soon as they start reading, and I'm a big kid myself, so they totally love me the second I walk into their classroom. And teach them about foster care. And I'll say, what do you guys know about that? And they say, oh, I hear people do it for money. And I'll say, you know, that somebody's parents don't want them. And those are, you know, those are things kids hear, and those are valid points, because some, you know, people might feel that way. And I'll tell them, hey guys, you know what? If I broke it down, I'd be making 92 cents an hour. You know, that's not why I do it. I do it to help
really
kids.
Not that much. Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that. Oh, they do it for the money or this and that. And some people might somehow supplement their income with it. I am lucky. My husband's in law enforcement. He's a homicide violent crime detective, and we're very blessed that you know, he is, you know, does a good job. And this is just something I wanted to give back and do, and to help others. And I really believe that these kids, they're taken from the only home they know, and to give them a book, it's magic. I've seen little ones we've taken in, and, you know, they sat on their bed, and I put the book on their bed and opened it and just smiled. It's just, you know, these poor kids, I mean, they're just taken from all they know, and it's really hard. And to get a book that comforts them and makes them feel like, oh, wow, I'm not alone. Or teaching kids, it's important, because there's 450,000 kids in foster care. And it's important, like classmates, neighbors, you know, where these kids were understood what foster care means. You know what I mean? And other kids understand. It doesn't have to be like, oh, like a whisper thing. Like, oh, my God, they're in foster care. I just say, you know, what's going on with your parents? I'm here to help you. And I don't really, it's not really my business. I'm just a mom opening my home. And let's have fun and swim, and, you know, and it doesn't need to be this big, awful thing. And a lot of kids don't understand it. So I'm so thankful that when I do go on these shows, I'll, you know, poke around and find a classroom and go in and read and talk to the kids, which I love doing.
Wow. And that's the thing that I love about all of this is, you are a mother. You know, you have 6 kids. 3 of them are adopted. 3 of them are special needs. As you were telling me before the show, they range in age from ages 4 to 18, nearly 18 years old. And so you're still dealing with all these things as a parent. You're still able to work through the different issues that your kids may be going through. And then over the years, with the, you know, in the course of 6 years, the 19 children that you've impacted. So from the outside looking in, it might look like all sunshine and roses and daisies and good times, but tell us a little bit about the adjustments you've had to make. When you bring a kid into your home, you talk about the abuse they suffered. I mean, these are kids that they've seen so much. You know, they may come from a broken home. They may come from, you know, maybe there was poverty, maybe there was abuse. Maybe maybe mom or dad just really wasn't around and able to take care of them. Such a variety of different, you know, backgrounds that they come from, and you have to now be able to bring them in, love them, nurture them, and take care of them. So what are some of the, you know, for anyone that's interested in the foster care system or maybe going through it themselves right now and struggling, you know, what's kind of the advice and something that really helped you in making that adjustment with your foster children?
You know, when you take a child in, there's so many things that you're just giving them a gift of. Like, my kids have taught children how to play. Like, they've never ran through the sprinklers or sat at a table or had a good night story or, you know, the smallest things. They haven't had that before, some of them. So to be able to give that gift of teaching a child what a normal, safe home looks like, I mean, and it's hard when I leave. My kids are heartbroken. It's super hard, and you come so far, and they don't want to leave, but you realize, and I tell my kids, look what we just did for them for 2 months, for 3 months, for, you know, a week. We gave them part of our home. Our home's pretty awesome. Look at the big picture, and now they're able to go back with their biological dad. we'll still be in contact with them. We'll still get pictures, hopefully. Hopefully we can still see them. It depends. But you're giving that child a gift. And I think, with everything going on in this world, just to give back, like, it seems so small. But when you're taking a child who's been in an abusive home or is being abused or sexually assaulted or, anything, and you're giving them safety, they never forget that. They never, it's just such a huge thing to be giving a child, love and stability. And I remember brushing my daughter's hair. We took in a sibling set, and she'd never, had her hair brushed before, and she was 4 when we brought her in. And for me, I started doing that when my kids were babies, putting her hair in a hair bow and just brushing their teeth, just really simple things, that we take for granted nowadays, just doing those kind things that my biological kids, my kids that we've adopted or kids that have stayed with us don't even know we're a foster home. I never refer to them as being in foster care. And my son looked at me last year.
Right.
He came at age 2, and he's almost 9. He goes, "We were in foster care?" And I said, "Yeah, you were." I never referred, to, I don't refer to the kids. I'll say, "Their parents are having a hard time. They're going to come, or you're going to come stay with us until things get figured out." And it's when you can give back and open your home to a child. Yeah, sometimes they come with a lot of baggage, and there's a lot going on. I remember my son had 75 appointments a month. It was, and it was a criminal investigation. It was on. I gained 70 pounds. My hair, never got my hair done anymore. Just the things, basic things that I used to do. I could barely shave my legs. Do you know what I mean? I was just in survival mode. And we adopted, we just adopting the kids. But just, you just give them so much when you open your home and your heart and you take them in. Not all kids have 75 appointments a month. We took my youngest in at 2 days old. She's special needs. We found out she has autism and some sensory stuff and in utero. Things happened to her, but she's just a sweet little thing, and I wouldn't have it any other way with any of them. And some have stayed and some have gone, and it's just a blessing to, be on this path and help kids in different, now we're able to distribute the book throughout the U.S. And these kids are getting them in these letters I get. These kids are telling me, "Thank you so much for visiting my classroom. I was shy to say this, but my dad was abusing me. Thank you for your book. It's making me feel safe." And it's when you get those kind of letters from kids, it's you're making an impact on kiddos. And people aren't going out knocking on classrooms and saying, "Let's talk about abuse. Let's talk about foster care." And the way I present it is, let's talk about it. Let's talk about foster care. Let's talk about adoption. Let's talk about abuse and not make it so scary. It doesn't have to be scary. And if these kids open my book and they'll go disclose something to their teacher, I'm being abused. Do you know what I mean? I'm helping one child. And anyone can do that by donating, and get these books to these kids that need it. And it's just, my experience as a foster mom, adoptive mom, a mom of kids of special needs, the kids that have been abused. It's, I know what I'm writing about, and it's really, really helped a lot of kids. And I know a lot about it.
Right. I know something, you've touched on so many things. It's ironic, my mom's a teacher, an elementary school teacher. She's taught for over 20 years. And we actually talked about this same thing, because she's seen so many kids teaching in the Trenton School District in New Jersey that have come from, broken homes, abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it may be. And I've talked about that same thing. There's just no way to really connect with kids because everyone's going through their own thing, and you don't know. You want to try to help kids as much as possible, but it's not like they're wearing a sign that says, "Help me, I'm being abused." You look for signs and you look for things like that. And we even talked about writing books as well and have started doing that. But it's just, there's so many kids out there that are so young and so innocent and so helpless, and you're making an impact. So you're working on some things now, though. What's next for you as you're continuing to progress with your journey to help as many people as you can?
We had such a story. Like this whole opening our home and taking in 2 horrifically abused children, I've seen things, I've dealt with things, like the things I've been through in our story, like our real story of what we've lived through. I, very privately would talk to a few people about it, and they're like, oh my God, you have a movie, you have a book. And I'm like, I know, but I want to do these other things first. I want to do this, and I want to write this book, and I have a baby, and it's a lot. And I sat down in November, and I ended up finding a gal. I've been working on my 3rd book, which is our story called Saving Michael. So I've had a few offers from publishers to print it, and I have it out there, to get picked up, and I had an agent want to pick it up too, and then I ended up connecting with this amazing fellow who's a producer in LA, and talking with him about our story, sent him my book, and he said, "Oh my God, you have a movie," and I'm like, "I know, it's crazy." Like all the things we've been through, it's crazy. Going from, I grew up in Marin County, north of Golden Gate Bridge. I had a pretty privileged life to going to rehab and bringing my family to meet a drug-addicted mom that I absolutely adore. Like, I've been through it. It's just, wow. And he said, hey, let's do a TV series. And I'm like, okay, that would be great. Let's do it. So I signed with him, and he's trying to find some learning about how this all works. You find funding, and then you find a hub like Netflix or HBO to pick it up. So I have a couple of big things pending. So it's exciting, and just spreading the word about real life, what goes on, mental health in children, special needs. And then I have my sense of humor on top of it all, because it can be dark, and you can really struggle with having kids, that are challenging. And I just find that, you have to talk about it, and for me, have a sense of humor, because it can be crazy. And you just gotta laugh at
I can only imagine.
You know what I mean? It's like I took the kids. I was on a Fox show in Alabama, and took a couple of my kiddos with me. I said, hey, you guys want to go? You have vacation? You want to come with mom? And they're like, whatever. And they just ground me. I'm like, okay, I'm going on. I was on Good Day Alabama. And they're like, whatever, Mom, we'll be back here. I'm like, you want to watch? And they're like, no, we'll wait here. So, I mean, it's neat to spread the word and have a sense of humor through it all, because sometimes it's hard, and a lot of people don't talk about stuff going on when you do have special needs children. It's like, oh, my daughter just had a seizure. The fire department's here. I'll call you back. I can't talk. It's not a good time. Do you know what I mean? Right. My son has severe PTSD from all his abuse, and but you just keep plugging along and have faith that everything's going to work out and do the right thing and get help and get support and get services, and that's our story and what we've been doing. And it's something I never in a million years. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and have a few kids. And I absolutely love it, and it's crazy. And, I run around sometimes and I'm like, oh, my God, I don't have shoes on. I forgot my shoes. Or, you know what I mean? Like, all the kids are here, they're ready, but I'll say to my older ones, go walk this one in, to her appointment. I totally forgot my shoes, or I put on my daughter's flip-flops that are 3 sizes too small and walked into the orthodontist.
Oh, wow. I love it. So for anybody that is listening, I mean, you have Keri's Kids nonprofit. You have your 3rd book that's coming out. You have a TV series that you're working on. Where can they follow you? And even a step further, if they were interested in getting involved in some way and helping out, how can they do so?
I've had folks. Well, my website, www.keri, Keri, and then Vellis, V as in Victor, ELLIS.com. There's a contact page in there. Instagram is Keri Vellis Author. Facebook, same thing. I have an email on there. Folks can reach out. I've had the sweetest people reach out. Katie Kirk just did a story on me. And I had a gal back east send me some baby blankets she knit for kids in foster care. So you can definitely, they're gorgeous. It's so sweet, and they're beautiful. Folks reach out. They want to help. What can I do? Donate. The books go directly to the kids. I don't have, I run the nonprofit. The money goes straight back to the kids in the books. I volunteer, and so does everybody, on my nonprofit. And it's all about giving back and helping kids. So money, donations, sponsorship to help these kids in foster care.
I love it. I love it. So KeriVellis.com. Perfect. And definitely give a follow if you're listening. So, Keri, I love what you're doing. You have an incredible story. I know that a TV series would probably not even give us all of the details that we would need to see, but I'm sure it'd give us a nice look into, your life and all that you've done, and that you're going through with your family and helping kids and impacting kids in some positive way. So thank you so much for joining us for a Positive Vibes Only segment.